So welcome everybody to Psychology 200, which is Psychology as a Natural Science. My name is Bill Greiser, and I'm going to be your instructor this term. I'm very excited to be here, even given the unusual circumstances. And I want you to know that Psychology 200 is one of the two introductory psychology courses at Portland State. The follow-on course is Psychology 204, which is Psychology as a Social Science. But this course is going to cover the scientific foundations of human behavior, perception, cognition. I was trained as a behavioral neuroscientist. I studied the relationship between exposure to nicotine, in non-smokers, and aspects of attention, like how did it have some impact over our ability to direct our attention. So I was really interested in using physiological methods of measurement, like looking at changes in, I looked at what are called electrophysiological changes, or EEG changes, that signified enhanced or reduced alertness or arousal in response to, exposure to nicotine, and, examined that impact of those changes on an individual's ability to, pay attention. So I'm really interested in the relationship between the underlying physiology, like what's going on in our brains and our bodies, actually, when we are, perceiving various aspects of our experience and environment, when we are, demonstrating and expressing biases in various social circumstances, when we are, making decisions in complex, social environments. So I'm hoping you're also interested in these topics, and I found, that a sort of a biological, physiological approach has been one of the most fruitful in, gaining real insight into what's going on, when we are reacting and responding, under various circumstances. So we're going to be looking at physiological and biological psychology. Again, that's my bias and my interest. Cognitive, ethical, and emotional development. So we'll be talking a lot about human development in this class. Sensation and perception, it's such an important aspect of why, we have often sort of differing, experiences in various social environments. I'm really excited to have you, contribute your experiences and understanding, throughout this class, because again, I come from a certain, background and set of biases. So I always find it extraordinarily, fascinating and amazing, compelling and educational and informative to actually, listen and learn, together, actually, in a course like this. We're going to be talking about learning. Actually, that's one of the most intensively studied psychological, processes. Consciousness. We're going to be talking a lot about the importance of definition, before we attempt to, link underlying sort of physiological, networks and functions, to specific aspects of our experience, like consciousness, language, and also memory. This course is also going to focus on issues in experimental design, and the goal is to sort of teach us all, and remind us all about critically evaluating psychological research, some of which has come under, legitimate criticism for, failure to replicate. So what's going on in those circumstances? And we're going to have a lot of, I think, fun, and there's a lot of relevance, I think, to the material that we're going to be discussing this term. So this first week, we're going to be discussing the history of psychology, and I want to emphasize it's the history of the academic field of psychology. So an interest in our perceptions, cognition, and behavior, is kind of universal and, has been, explored and written about. And there are remarkable and fascinating and important insights from many, many different, aspects of, various societies. So academic psychology does not have a lock on this topic. However, I do want to, in this class, give you a little sense of the development of the field. Also available career paths in the field, like if you want to become a psychologist, or a, behavioral neuroscientist or something, what do you do? How do you get involved? What are some of the professional associations that are, engaged here? And also, some significant issues, obviously, psychological issues, including biases, like confirmation bias, that often complicate, the study of the brain and behavior. So we're going to be emphasizing critical thinking skills, considering what constitutes a scientific hypothesis, a scientific theory, what separates, those kinds of efforts actually from, what are known as sort of pseudoscientific ideas. So very important in a class that has so much, significant online content to look at this D2L site. So please keep returning to our, course site, and be aware that, underneath each of these, kind of headings here under table of contents, we got week 1, Introduction to Psychology. There are subheadings. The first is Click Me, Important Course Information. So please click there and, scroll down and read, through the resources that are presented in that subheading. And then there's going to be a Zoom class, right, which will, be able to actually talk with each other, and, we can hear questions, and you can ask questions, and we can consider topics kind of as a group, during the week. And then there's another subheading below there, Introduction to Psychology as a Natural Science. So what I very want to sincerely emphasize is that you need to actually click on each of these individual subheadings, so that will open up, all the material that you'll actually need to be evaluating and looking at, each week of the course. So welcome to Psychology as a Natural Science. Thank you for taking this class, and I look forward to seeing you in Zoom and potentially other venues.